Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today in this video we are going to see what is Redux and how exactly we need to use Redux in React.js. And we also going to see why exactly we need Redux and Redux Toolkit in React.js application. So if you are new here, please consider subscribing so you won't miss any future content. Now let's start the video. Yes. So as we can see on our screen that this is the diagram which we have defined for the use context, how exactly we can use the use context. Okay. But in this, we have a small problem. Okay. Suppose you have multiple contexts created. Okay. So what you have to do in that case is you have to wrap every time your components this way. Okay. I need context for this. I need context for like let me select this here again for these things again, and I need context for these only these two things. So this is a very complex and very tricky thing. Okay, if you are doing very small context like you are creating one or two, that is fine. Okay, but if you are creating multiple contexts between all the components, that is a very headache for you. Okay, so at this point what we can do is we should not use context. Okay, we can at this point we can use Redux toolkit or Redux. Okay, so let me explain you what exactly it is. Let me remove this. Instead of this, I'll say Redux here. Okay, so yeah, so this is our basic structure or hierarchy of the components. Okay, we have app, we have main, header, cart, and products we have inside the main, and products again we have inside that we have product card. Okay, now what exactly I want is I want a value, like I want cart count. Okay, and that will be incremented from the product card. Okay, but we want to show that inside the cart. Okay, but again we know that inside React app, the data flow from the top to bottom, we can't send some value to the cart. Okay, so in this case what we can do is we can use context. But again, if you are using more and more contexts, that will be a problem for you and it will increase your code. Okay, so instead of that, what we can do is we can create a common store. Okay, store I'm saying. Okay, somewhere in the project it is not linked to anyone. It is a common and separate store. Okay, and inside that store we are going to put or store our count. Okay, here, and whenever we want that we can fetch it from there. Okay, so it should not be like linked to any component. Anyone can pull the component, or sorry, pull the count from there. Okay, and if you want to change that, anyone can change it. It's not only like a product card. If you want to change it from the main as well, you can change it. Okay, it's up to you. So basically what we are going to do in the Redux is we are going to create a store which is in some place, and inside that store we can go and we can have our cart count placed, and we can update it, we can access it, whatever we want to do we can do inside that store only. Okay, and what is the major thing in this Redux is we can create slices. Okay, slices is nothing but we'll have portions. Okay, in that portions you put some code here, and again in the another slice you put some other code. So multiple slices you can create and put it in a single store. Okay, and it will be very easy to maintain as well for you guys as well. Okay, so you don't need to like make sure that these component I want to make sure it's available, this is I want to make sure available. Doesn't matter. Okay, you have created somewhere store, and you can what do we say, access it, and you can update the values, and whatever you want to do you can do it. Okay, so here there are two things. Okay, there are two things to do it. Okay, so first one is will be dispatch. Okay, dispatch. So if you heard of this name, what exactly dispatch will do is dispatch will dispatch our value, okay, to the store. Inside this, what exactly we are going to do is wherever the product card is, we want to save some value, store some value in the store. Okay, so what we can do is we can use dispatch to do that. Okay, so dispatch will going to store that value inside the store here. Okay, so this is our store right here, store. And whenever we need to access the value, we have to use selector. Okay, selector. Let me show you selector. Okay, so selector, whenever you are using that value, that time you can use the selector. So in this React Redux or Redux toolkit we have two hooks. Okay, So one we have is use dispatch, okay, and the other one we have is use selector, okay. So these two hooks we can get it from the React Redux or the Redux Toolkit to manage our Redux, okay. So this is how it will be. So let's go to the project and let's see practically how we can initialize the Redux, how we can update the value in the Redux, and how we can access the value which is stored in the store, okay. Yes. So let's see how we can go in the code and how we can create this component. So let's create the components first so that it will be ready for our Redux first. Okay. So I'll create Redux components. Okay. And inside that I'll create all these components. Okay. Header, main, cart, this kind of thing. Okay. So let's say header.js and let's say main.js, and inside that I'll have product cards. Okay, let's say product card directly. Okay, instead of products, I'm directly creating this. Okay, at least there is a child, like parent and child relationship. Okay, so that's how it is. So this is the header and RFCE main, and here we'll have the product card. Okay, and in the product card we should be having a span, I'll say product. Okay, and I'll have a button which will say add to cart. Okay, and this we have to import inside our main component. Okay, so main I'll see here, and here we have to have the product card. Okay, and it can be multiple. Okay, and inside header what exactly we can have it is we can have a span saying header, and the same span we can have which is saying the card. Okay, basically card count will say 0 for now. Okay, so this is the structure is created. Let's import in the app.js to see in the application. Okay, so what I'll do is here is I'll just import main from dot slash component slash redux, and this is main. Okay, the same thing I'll do with the header. Let's do that header. Okay, and I'll going to use it here. Okay, so first is header component and then main component. Okay, so let's go back to the application and let's see. Yeah, now you can see I'm getting product and the add to cart buttons here. Okay, now what we can do is we are ready to initialize the store, and then we can see how exactly we can use it. Okay, so first thing what we can do is we can go to the Redux Toolkit website. Okay, so you can just search redux toolkit.js.org. Okay, it will take you to here and click on get started, and here you can click on quick start. Okay, so we can quick start from here. Okay, and you can see it is saying us to install these packages. Let's copy this. Let's go back. Let me click here and terminal and new terminal. Okay, and here I'll just paste it and click enter. So while this is installing, let's go back and let's see what exactly we have to do next. Okay, then you can see here it is saying src app, and then we can create as store.js. Okay, basically what we can do is inside src we can create a folder called redux. Okay, and all the stuff which is related to redux will go inside this folder. Okay, then we can create a file which is store.js, and you can see I'm using small letters. The reason is because it is not a component. Okay, that's the reason. And then what we can do is, I think this is install. Yes, we can use Control J to enable this terminal. Okay, and then we can have constant uh, from @. Okay, because no, it should be import. Okay, it should not be constant import, and from I'll say @redux toolkit. Okay, and we have to take create, not create, basically I think configure. Okay, configure store. Okay, and then you can see here what exactly we are doing is we are exporting a store uh, component or function which is configured like this way. Okay, let's do that same thing. Export constant, and I'll say store equal to configure store. We have to configure a store, and it will accept few option it will accept in the object. Okay, and the options will be reducer. Okay, and reducer will also a object. Okay, so you can provide all the reducers here. So what is meant by reducer? Reducer is a piece of code which will define outside of your component, which you can use inside of your component. Okay, that's how the reducer will be. So once we create the store, what we have to do is we have to create the slice. okay, slice of the store. Okay, to do that, what we can do is inside the Redux we can create one folder called slices, and inside that only all the slices will go. Okay, so we have to create one slice right now, which is cart slice. Okay, you can use C small. Okay, that's up to you. .js, and here we have to do one thing, import again. I'm doing constant multiple times, and @react toolkit, and it should be create slice. Okay, I think configure slice, I think create slice, yeah, that's the one. Okay, and then what we can do is constant initial state. Okay, initial state you can define here. So what will be the your initial states? Okay, I'll say cart and it will be 0, and you can think of one scenario as use reducer. It's a little similar to that case. Okay, not entirely but little bit, like few here and there you can find few things are very similar to use reducer, not completely. Okay, and then what I'll do is export constant. I'll say cart slice equal to create slice. Okay, and this is also a function which will have multiple options. Okay, in that first option will be name. What is the name of your slice? Okay, I'll say cart. Then we have to give initial state. Okay, whatever initial state we have created above, we have to give it here, comma. Then we have the reducers. Okay, so reducers are the functions, right? So these inside this object we can create our reducer functions here. Okay, and let's say first function will be our add to cart. Okay, and you can see as we are inside a object, it should be a key value. Okay, the key will be the function name and value will be the function. Okay, like this, and it will accept two parameters. First is state. Okay, and second is action. Okay, and now I want to increment the state value. So what I can do is state dot cart, okay, equal to action dot payload. Okay, this is how we can do it. And then what we can do is we have to destructure the reducers. Okay, let's do that. Constant destructure equal to cart slice, and these all reducers will be come into action. So we can say actions here. Okay, actions, and here we can get add to cart. Okay, and after that what we can do here is we can export. This is also we have to export it. That's why you can have export here, and then we have to export default our reducer. Okay, reducer in the sense cart slice will have a reducer that we have to export it, cart slice dot reducer. Okay, this is how we can do it. So once the slice is created, this is how we can create a slice. Once this is completed, we have to import inside the store or register basically. Okay, so let's register it. I'll say cart reducer. You can provide whatever name you want here. Okay, it's up to you, and I'll say dot slash slice slash cart. Okay, but don't make curly braces here. Okay, we have to do default one we have to get, which is this one, cart reducer. That's why I'm doing this one. And here what I can do is I can write cart colon, because that's the object. That's why I'm writing this cart reducer. Okay, and cart, this name should come from here. Okay, the name what you provided here should come here. Okay, and once it is done, what we can do is we have to provide this store to the index. Okay, to the app.js. It should wrap to, around the app.js. Let's see how we can do that. We have to go to index.js. We have to import two things here. Okay, first thing, provider. Okay, and it comes from the React Redux package. Okay, then what we can do is we can import our store. Okay, store from dot slash redux slash store. Okay, and then what we can do is here we can wrap our app.js to the provider. Okay, so let's wrap it, and provider will accept one parameter which is store equal to store. Okay, and that's it. So this is how we have registered our store. We have created our store like this, and we have registered our reducer as well, which is our slice here. Okay, and then we have wrap our app component to the provider, and this is one time only. Okay, you have once you do, that's it. And for one project you can create one store, but you can create multiple slices. Okay, so that the code readability also will be separated. You can create one more like counter slice and different things. Okay, and you can register in the store, then only it will work. So now let's see how we can access store values, which is cart and the add to cart function, into our different components. Yes. So you can see I'm in the header.js, and here we have to use the cart count. Okay. So first thing what we have to do is we have to get the or import the uh, hook, okay, which the hook which we talked about, right, in this diagram, which is use selector. To get the value we have to use selector. To send and store the value inside the store we have to use dispatch. Okay, we can use dispatch later. For now let's see use selector, how we can use it. Okay, and it will come from React Redux. Okay, and here we can have use selector. Okay, now let's initialize this thing. So I'll say constant cart count. Okay, this can be anything, your name, your like whatever the name you want to provide, and then use selector. Okay, and inside that what we have to do is we have to write a state. Okay, and this will be an arrow function. Okay, you can do this as well this way, but if you have one parameter, right, in that you can directly write whatever parameter name it is, and state, and then state cart. Okay, so what is mean by this? Let's see. Let's go to the Redux slice again, and here you see I am doing state. Okay, that state is the function which is having the all the reducers, and from there I am getting the cart. Cart is the this name. Okay, and dot cart. This cart is your initial state. Okay, this is what it is. And if I use cart count, we should be able to see 0 here. Okay, let's see. Let's go back to our project and let's refresh here, and you can see 0 is coming up. This is the one way of accessing your state from the slice. Okay, so this is how you can do, and I'll show you the other way as well. The other way is what we can do is we can come here, we can write constant get part count, okay, equals to it will be a method same as what we did there, state.cart.cart. Okay, and this we can export it. Okay, export, and now we can import it and we can use it. Okay, so let's do that. Dot slash no dot slash and dot slash redux, and then we can go to slice and slice this one. Okay, and we can have get cart count, and instead of writing this here we can write get cart count. Okay, basically if you don't want to write that code here, you can write it here. You can first define every time, you don't need to remember it, you just need to call the function and put it inside this. And if I refresh now here, it will be the same thing. Okay, so any of the method you can do, it's up to you. Sometime what will happen is we don't remember the name of the slice. Okay, that's why we will just create it here only, and whenever we want we can use it directly. Okay, so it's up to you what method you want to use. I generally use this way. Okay, and once it is done, now we have to use dispatch. Okay, use selector we got it, use dispatch we have to check how we can use it. So we want to use from the product card. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. So firstly I'll just import it, use dispatch from the React Redux. Okay, then we have to initialize it, constant dispatch equal to use dispatch, and this name can be anything again. Okay, but I like to use dispatch only because it has some meaning to it, that's the reason. Okay, and if you are using here use reducer and use dispatch, that time you have to make sure the names are changed. Okay, because if both names are similar, then it will throw error or it will not work properly, that's the reason. Okay, now what I want to do here is I want to call this add to cart function. Okay, so that it should do our, like it should plus one our count or increment the count. Okay, so for that what I have to do is I have to get the add to cart first of all. Okay, here, so I'll say dot slash I'll go to Redux and Redux slice and cart slice. Okay, and here I'll get the add to cart function here. Okay, and then what we have to do is inside the button we can have on click event, and this will be a arrow function, and here we can write dispatch inside that add to cart, and I'll say 1. Okay, so right now I'm just doing 1. If I go back, let's refresh. If I click this, it should dispatch the value and store the value into store, and the same value we should be able to see here. Okay, let's see. Click done, but it is not incrementing. The reason is we have to make sure, we have to again use selector here. Okay, I'll say cart count equal to use selector, and I'll say get cart count, and this much easy it is because I just imported this one, and this cart count I'll have it here plus 1. Okay, let's go back, let's refresh, and again now if I click add to cart, and you can see the count is increasing. So this is how we can create our store, we can initialize the store, we can create the slices, we can initialize the reducers, different reducers, and then we can access or update the value in the store using use dispatch and use selector hooks. Okay. Yes. So as you can see here, we don't need to wrap our store to these components. Okay. Once we do for a single time, that's enough for it. Okay. We can create multiple slices and we can use it. Okay. So this is how we can initialize our store. Then this is how we can create our slice. And this is how we can use dispatch and use selector to access the values in the Redux. Okay. So this is about Redux and Redux Toolkit in React.js. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please consider subscribing and give it a like. I'll be back with more content in the next video. Thank you.